Right at it. Right at it. Oh,
Jordan
he's
Spieth.
done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to episode 79 of the Go Get That podcast. Address the elephant in the room. Bob is not here. He, if you were following him on Twitter today on Sunday, he has the flu, so he is hopefully asleep right now, recovering probably from both the flu and the close call today at the Valspar. But Dad and I are here to recap what was probably another progression for Jordan Spieth. Obviously one that, again, like API, just very close to a W, but some good things this week from Jordan, some bad things, and another close call with the tied for third finish.
Yeah. I guess I'll just say this up front for the people listening. Because I told Jordan this before we went live. I am not sure how I feel about what went down this week. Obviously, that's not to say, oh my God, Spieth sucks, he's the worst. But I haven't fully processed today. We're recording this at just before 8 p.m. on Sunday. So that's, I think, what we're going to do here is we're just going to try and figure out how to feel about it all. And, in that process, I'm sure Taylor Moore will get some mention. Adam Schenk will get some mention. Probably some Tommy Fleetwood mention. And Dylan Wu will not get mentioned thanks to his brutal Sunday 78. But I don't know where you want to start. I mean, it was about as close to as perfect as it can get through 15.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's summed up perfectly. I mean, he played a pretty much perfect first 15 holes. I mean, the ball striking was great. The putter was contributing. He was making the important putts. I mean, the par save on 9, the birdie putt on 14, the birdie putt at 5. Like, he was making a ton of putts. He was keeping it in play for the most part. He had a little squirrely drive there on 6, but found a way to make par.
Yeah.
Just a perfect first 15 holes a day. And even through 15 holes, I mean, it was still not his tournament, even though he played them perfectly.
Right. Well, I think to that point, I was looking at Data Golf. I think he finished with around the same strokes gain number he did at Harbor Town. Obviously 8 under. If he's leading by 1 at the last and 9 under is going to win, he probably my guess is he would more than likely 2-putt that last attempt because he had to give it a run, right? So he'd finish around 3.1 shots gained to the field, which I don't know where that ranks exactly in winning tournaments, but that's more than what he had at Harbor Town. And certainly gave himself another very good chance to win. Obviously, macro picture, large picture here. Like, we came into this 4-week stretch needing some movement, up leaderboards, up FedEx Cup standings, up Ryder Cup standings, just Data Golf standings, I think, most importantly. And that has been accomplished so far, right? T4, T19, T3. So clearly the game is in a good spot. And there's a lot of ifs for this tournament, right? Saturday obviously is a day you look back, 69 is a good score, but could have been 66, probably could have been a 72 as well. And I mean, I've kind of been avoiding it a little bit, but I mean, I'm still a little bit stunned about what happened on 16. And not because, well, I guess I'm trying to figure out why. Like, he had been missing it all day off the tee. That was the big problem. He gained 3 shots on approach today, gained almost 1 with the putter, and was being beaten going up 18. Like in some sense, the round was good enough to win a tournament, and other guys were also playing really well, and that's credit to them. But sorry, back to 16. I just I don't know. I mean, what was your like feeling going into that tee shot? Like,
I
were
mean, I
you nervous at all that that could happen?
not really. No, I think if anything, he's going to blow it left,
Yeah,
which
that
is
I was sorry. Go ahead.
it's easy to do. He mentioned it after the round today with like what he is doing in his swing. Hitting a fade into that particular wind direction is like the tough thing for him right now. So he basically said, "All right, I'm going to go trust it and try and hit the same shot I hit at one, which was a beautiful 3-wood into the par five." And he just, came out of it, and he's in the middle of the pond. Um, yeah, I thought if anything, he just blow it left. Um, I think what I take away though is the bogey, like incredible bogey at 16.
Yeah,
I wanted to address this just because a lot of negativity on my page today. I know I mentioned this in a prior podcast. 2015 Spieth had 5 runners up. I just think calling him a choker when he's been in contention only twice is just a little harsh. Um, I guess we'll definitely talk about it more in the podcast, but like the whole point is getting yourself in the picture tons of times, and he's
yeah,
starting to do that more, which is nice to see. But yeah, just regarding 16, I thought if anything he'd blow it left. So sorry for going
yeah.
off on a tangent, but
No, I mean I kind of tangented myself before, but
yeah,
I could tell that he wasn't that comfortable. Like there were a couple fiddles, right? I mean, he's always moving around before he hits, but it seemed like there was an extra one, an extra look, and he knew it right off the face that it was wet. Um,
was not close.
and I think in that moment, right, I think if he bails left, there's a chance he makes five anyway.
Yeah,
Shoot me. Like, so end of the day, 16, you make a five. That's tough. And people are gonna look at the tee shot into the water, but 16's like a tough hole anyway, and there's a chance he makes bogey anyway, right? So to just assume to say if he just hits the fairway, he's making par and then he's winning the tournament, I think is a little bit unfair. And I don't choke is obviously has very strong like connotation, but and in the moment, I think you could make the case that the pressure got to him a little bit, right? Just sped up the process of what's the best shot to hit, especially if you're not feeling comfortable with it. Um, right. So I guess the other way I've kind of been thinking about it in my head is like, what if there's not water, right? What if it's just
interesting.
what if it's just like a thick, like rough US Open rough just down the right and that the fairway's still over there. So he bails right and pitches out. Like I think what I'm trying to get to is that the hitting it into the water doesn't like not matter, but it's just like it's not important that it went into the water as the big deal because he still made five. If he made six, then yeah, because he hit it into the water, extra stroke, drop the whole thing. But hitting it, into the trees on the other side means you're probably making bogey a lot of the times too. So, um, but I was surprised. I just did not expect that ball to go right.
No,
If anything, I was thinking toe hook was incoming.
yeah, like Mr.
Um,
Shank. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
think you hit it in the
yeah.
trees on 16. It's basically a par 4.5. Because
Right.
like you can either get really lucky there, or you can be screwed like Shank was at 18, be up against a tree, and it's a pitch out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really know. Speaking of Mr. Shank, just to get into him, I don't really know how you can say Jordan choked, but I mean Mr. Shank was just not shanking it. I mean, he was playing so well. It was incredible how well he played today for a guy that had never won.
Yeah.
He made a bogey on 6, answered at 7, bogeyed 8, answered on 9, made the 71 footer on 12.
Yeah.
Like, I
That was
mean,
ridiculous.
the dude did not look like a guy out there who had
Chip
never won today.
chipped in on one too. Like
Chipped in on one. Yeah.
Shank did everything that you need to do to win on a Sunday, which is obviously not as much as Taylor Moore, and we'll get into him in a little bit, I'd imagine. He chipped in. He stole one on 12 with the 71-footer. Stole probably another one on 9 with a nice 25-footer. Bounced back on his bogeys. And I guess he probably shouldn't have 3-putted 8. That was an awful 3-putt.
Yeah.
But he played awesome. And then it was just down the stretch. It was like you could tell he was a little nervous. He almost got a little like Spiethy, but he wasn't. He's not. Like, Spieth is built to handle Spiethiness. Adam Schenk is not built to handle Spieth. It's like a thing you just like
That's fair.
have to get used to. Because if Adam Schenk blasts it way right in the water, he's making 6. I have no doubt in my mind that that's the case. And then, dude, I mean, I thought it was he makes the 15-footer because I was looking at it on Tourcast to make bogey. I was like, it's a straight putt like that. That good, decent chance it goes in. Makes that and then goes to 17 and hits it to 7 feet. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, this dude has now played. He has golfed his ball to the hole. Like, or even on the greens, he was great. The putt on 14, the putt at 9. The only iffy one was, I guess, obviously 17. That was a tough putt to watch. And then the opening hole, not 2-putting from 65 feet, which is tough, is difficult, right? Especially, but when you flush it, driver 3 wood, get it up there on the green on a par 5, like you'd like to make 4.
Yeah.
And then just I know I had to read his transcript before I came on. And I know he said he was trying to diet on 17. But I just don't understand that. I know it was downhill. But I feel like if you just got it started just outside the left edge with a little, like hitting it just a little bit firm, it's moving, it's going to slide a little bit. And even if it rolls by, it's rolling 3 feet by, and then you'll make that the way you've been putting it. So, 1 tee ball, 1 putt. I mean, you can point to 1 shot all week, but it speaks to the sort of stones that I think are coming back, right? There's a confidence to hit a 4-iron to 7 feet on set. And, I mean, what a
incredible shot.
Unbelievable shot that is.
Knowing he needed it. He needed it. He knew he needed it.
He knew he needed it, and that was the closest shot of the day.
Yeah.
He did it on 8 as well. The other 200+ yard par 3. Hit it in there to 8 feet, poured that one in. And it's just like this roller coaster, man, and it would have been so nice to just put that in from 7 feet and walk up to 18. But even then, like, I don't know what happens if he makes that putt. Like, that tee ball on 18 could have gone anywhere. I don't think it just goes in the left rough again.
Fair.
I'm trying to like figure out a way to like direct my thoughts about this and keep it like
it's all
within
over
a
the
straight
place.
line.
I mean,
But like, it's really like I'm having so many thoughts all over the place, as you said, because that's kind of the way it was the last 3 holes. And it sucks to have it end that way, right?
yeah.
And I think now, looking at API as well, getting it in the fairway off the tee when you need to is obviously a big deal. Gonna need to do it at 17 at Augusta, 18 at Augusta. 15, I mean, ideally you hit it in the fairway on 15, but like those are tight tee shots. 17 maybe a little wider, but 18, like if you got to make par, you kind of have to hit a tee ball, a good one.
I like how
And
you're looking forward to Augusta.
well, I have to at this point.
No, I
match
agree.
play, like whatever. He's not winning match play. He's too drained, I think. So, but kind of to this point about the T-ball, like I love the low fade. I love it. And the fact that he can't hit it right now it's not concerning, overly concerning, but I'm disappointed that it has decided to disappear, because I think that was his shot in 21. I think he said at Valero, he hit those all day around Harbor Town, and it gets you in fairways, and that lets the iron play excel. And it would have been nice to have something that he could just be like, all right, I'm just going to lean into this and rip it as hard as I can. I know it's starting left, it's going right back into the fairway. So we're close. He's close.
Yeah, I said that in my Instagram post. He's got all the shots right now. He's got the putter. I think the putter, it's back. I think we're still probably in a recession, right, Dan?
Yeah.
We're still in a recession.
Yeah. He will be in a recession until he putts well at a major.
Yeah, you said that, which is very, very fair. But I mean, he's got everything. I mean, the short game, I thought it was a little spotty this week.
Yeah.
I think the numbers would say that too. I mean, he was in the field, 24th, which for him is like, eh.
Yeah.
So
he only gained a little over a quarter of a stroke. He gained like a stroke and a half to the field for the week around the greens, which is not good enough for his standards, I think.
Yeah. But the putter, I think for the most part, was really good this week. Thursday was great, Friday sucked, and then the weekend was pretty darn good. So the putter's there. Iron play is clearly there. No issues there. Short game, I think the floor with that is still very high. And then off the tee, I guess I think, for the past couple of weeks, been a little not up to his standards, but it's still decent, even with it not being great. And Augusta, obviously looking ahead to that, you can afford to get, a little bit loose there. You got wide fairways, but yeah, just I keep talking about today, Sunday, just because it was a whirlwind like it usually is with Jordan. I thought this one stung probably a little bit more than API, just because I mean, he played a phenomenal 15 holes today.
Yeah.
API, let's be 100% honest. Did he have a great chance on Sunday? Yes. Was he lucky to have that chance? Absolutely. He was in the driver's seat really all week at the Valspar. His name was on the first page of the leaderboard from the get-go on Thursday. He played 4, solid rounds. He was in the 60s. He shot 70 today. Would have been a 69 had he not missed the 3-footer at the last. And then he shot 70 on Friday, but he was in the driver's seat all week. I think after Thursday, we thought this was his tournament to lose. Not as much the case at API after Friday. Took some luck to get in the picture on Sunday with the leaders struggling, but this one stung just a little because, he had it. Like he was good all 4 days. He played 4 really good rounds of golf and tee shot on 16, and then just, Taylor Moore playing an exceptional round of 67 today.
Yeah.
It hurts a little bit.
Yeah, Moore didn't miss inside of 6 feet this week. Like,
tough to lose when you don't.
Not that, Spieth, he wasn't bad inside of 6 feet, but he probably missed 2 or 3.
There's your strokes
from 5 feet, right? And it's like, shoot, props to Taylor Moore. Sunday 67 and that stuff. Like we're talking about Spieth playing perfect through 15 holes. Like if he was perfect and he got up and down on one, he was 4 under.
Yeah.
And then Taylor Moore then played 16, 17, 18, like even on top of that. You know what I'm saying? I know he birdied 16, but like going into if he was going into that stretch at 4 under playing perfect golf, that's Taylor Moore then played the 3 of the hardest holes on the course and even and completed his round at the perfect golf score. So unreal by him. He was kind of lurking, like he was Fleetwood for a while. I really thought, because I obviously Jordan was playing well, but it seemed like Fleetwood was the one who was more likely to make a 3 birdies in a row type of thing to grab it at 11, like 11 under or 10 under or something. And he just to be fair, Fleetwood hit one bad shot too, and it was that 3-wood into
14.
14 that ended up in the bunker on the downslope and took 4 shots from there to get it in the hole. And he just played the rest and even finished at 8 under. Another very classic like Fleetwood T3 in the States, I feel like. Like I thought it was him. Moore just kept lurking because everybody else faded. I mean, like Webb Simpson started the day up there. Guys like Cody Gribble. I mean, Sam Burns shot what 67.
It's 69 today. Well, no, I'm looking at round one like a moron. 67 today. Up, my bad.
Yeah, so Sam Burns shot 4 under and probably went from like T32 to solo 6th, right? Like Sunday was hard because a lot of dudes fell off the front page of the leaderboard, down to like that 5 under, 4 under range. So then it was kind of 4 dudes, and I thought Taylor Moore was going to be one of those dudes to fall. Like I just did. I thought he would. It just seemed like it was a tough day and a bogey was coming at some point. They like showed him occasionally on the coverage and it's like, oh, he's got this birdie putt or oh, he's got this, 6-footer for par or whatever, makes it, moves on. And he just didn't falter. The bunker shot on 17 was stupid good.
Yeah.
Played that long, like floaty one that spun and tapped that in. Played 18 really nicely. That's a tough 2-putt from where he was.
It was impressive.
And it was very, I mean, that could have come back not all the way to his feet, but he could have very easily 3-putted that. And we'd probably be talking about a playoff at 9 under. With him and Schenk and maybe Spieth, who knows? Probably. If Spieth had to get in at 9, I'm sure he could have gotten in at 9. But
yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I mean Taylor Moore was killer today, and he just didn't have the one bad swing that cost him a shot in there, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, for the people listening, I bet for our Go Get That bets, I bet Taylor Moore at the Genesis, the top 10. He didn't hit. Like, he's not a name that at least I mean, for the casual golf fan, like you don't know who Taylor Moore is, but like if you're a diehard like we are,
Yeah,
I've bet him to win one of my bets before. Like I know this dude was playing good. I think a win probably you don't necessarily expect him to win. But he is capable of it. I've bet him, I've backed his play. I think he's an up and coming type of guy. Spieth, he's from Spieth out there. Yes, Spieth was asked about him after his round
yeah,
today. Like he's from Oklahoma. I think he plays at one of the local clubs in
yeah.
Texas.
I think he's in Dallas now though. Like
Yeah.
that's where he lives. That's what Asinger was saying. I think, which is funny. The Paul Asinger, man. Anyway, yeah, Taylor Moore was awesome and good for him. And to your point, like I think the same week at Genesis, I bet him to top 40 as well. Like this dude's been playing some good golf.
Yep.
And if you follow golf, to a more like if you place top 40s and stuff like that, you know who Taylor Moore is. And props to him. And Valspar continues to kind of follow the trend of one, the fields haven't been as great, so you get newer guys that win, like get their first PGA Tour win here, or you get guys that defend, or not even defend, but win it multiple times. Saw that, and the top 4 guys up there were Spieth trying to win it twice, Schenk trying to win for the first time, Taylor Moore trying to win for the first time, and Tommy Fleetwood trying to win for the first time. So on the PGA Tour for Fleetwood. So Valspar produced what it always did. And I thought the course was awesome this week too. Like the whole, not necessarily the holes itself, but the way they got the course to play was great.
Yeah, I fully agree. I was talking about this one of our group chats earlier today. It's like a weird course because I don't like love the holes. Like I think the par fives are bland.
Yeah.
But what it does, if you miss fairways, like you're screwed. I
Yeah.
think that's a good golf course. You really just got to play defense if you miss the fairway. The rough was up this week. The greens were, firm and slick.
Mhm.
So I mean, we saw it with Jordan. Like you miss a fairway, sometimes the best you can do is like 30 feet.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's interesting that we see this again, Mr. Spieth. He skipped API last year, comes back this year, contention. He skipped Valspar for a few years. Granted, he wanted to play it last year and 21 and couldn't, but he comes back here in contention again.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how the schedule is next year, because I think API at this point has to be a must for Spieth. And
Yeah.
depending on if the schedule plays out in his favor, I wouldn't hate seeing him back here.
No, he'll be here, I think. I mean the Valspar, I think they sort of made a choice between the Honda and the Valspar in terms of like which the tour did in terms of which like title sponsor they want to keep. Um and we'll see because obviously Honda's dropping out. We'll see where the schedule is. I think Valspar should probably get a designated event or not elevated or whatever it is, just for the 1 year. Like Phoenix was this year, and Hilton Head will be, because he'll be at API because that's Arnie's event, and I think all of the guys have to go to those events now. But Valspar, look, I mean, we talked about it on Tuesday recording the preview or whatever. It's a very good comp course to a bunch of places he's won before. So, and obviously he's won here. So it's like it made a lot of sense that it fits Spieth's game, and you can kind of see the way the guys on the leaderboard were, you can see why they were up there given the course. Like you could see the course and what it requires you. You can kind of see with those guys up the leaderboard. Like Fleetwood flushed the golf ball this week. I know he came up short. Which, as I mentioned, is like a pretty typical Tommy Fleetwood move. He just doesn't seem to have that. I'm going on a tangent here. It's kind of a little Hovlandish. He doesn't seem to like have the sense of like where I'm at and what I need to do, or and just like the making the big putt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Or
agree with
making the having the big hole. Because he finished at what, 8?
Yep.
I mean, he put it in the fairway on 14. And if he gets, if he gets up and down from there with a 3 or in 3 shots, so up, whatever, gets in from the fairway in 3 shots, makes birdie, he's at 10,
Yeah.
right? And
No, I
then
agree.
hangs on and he's in a playoff, or who knows how it shakes out. But Fleetwood's right there. Schenk was awesome for a lot of the day. Obviously today was a little bit more scrambly than he probably wanted. But he was playing that like draw, kind of like Chris Kirk does. Draw pretty much everything. His bad shots were when he tried to play fades. And then Taylor Moore just didn't miss inside of 6 feet. Right. And that'll win at a lot of golf courses, but especially this week when there's a lot of scrambling going on, a lot of just tough shots you got to hit. He did that the best out of anybody, and picked up a massive win. Going back to Spieth a little bit here. What I was thinking about this earlier. What grade, like letter grade, school grade, would you give his game this week?
B. I think,
B?
I mean, it's kind of what I thought, even coming into today. I thought everything has been like good, not great.
Yeah.
Obviously today the iron play was really good, so maybe that was, elite this week, but definitely off the tee wasn't elite. Short game definitely was not elite. Um, I'd say the putter was great, not elite. I think elite's higher than great in my criteria here.
Yeah.
Spieth played good golf. I think he's still yet to, since probably the 2021 Open, just play elite golf. I still think we're building to that, which is fine. It's March 19th. We have 4 majors ahead of us. That's fine. I said it in my story again after, we got to walk before we can run. I think all my followers and all our listeners expect him to be in contention a lot more than 2 times in 2023.
Yeah.
So I think the whole point is to continue to put yourself there and just keep progressing. He didn't play great golf this week, I don't think. I think portions of the game were, really good, but he freaking knows his ceiling is way higher than this. We're still
Yeah.
working towards that, and I really don't think, in March there's anything wrong with that.
Right. No, I think that's that's a very fair assessment. Because I was trying to figure out, like, if we look at the grand scheme of things, I'm usually a bit more optimistic. Like this was a great week, you know.
Yeah.
Another shot in contention. Um, another top 6 finish. He's moving up all the data golf boards and
The
all
important
those
boards.
the important boards like that. And he played close it out golf on Sunday for, I mean, honestly, I can't even like, I think, getting back to, I can't even not fault him for 16 because that tee shot was, end of the day, that's a really, really, really bad tee shot.
Yes.
But to still make bogey after that,
Yeah.
to make the putt because he knew he needed it, and then to hit the 4-iron into 17. I thought he hit the approach shot into 18 was also great. Like, there's too much great in there to be too disappointed with the result from this week.
I agree. Yep.
Big picture.
Yeah, I don't like if he got to like 10 and Shank like was 2 over through 9 and he had a 3-shot lead going into the back 9 and lost, like I'd call that a choke. But I mean Shank was freaking breathing down his neck all day. I mean the 71 footer, like are you kidding me?
Yeah. Spieth had the solo lead for one hole.
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Like, yeah. He birdied 8 and then Shank birdied 9.
He
And then
lost it on a
like
par, exactly.
and then it was like, all right, he might be down. And then he was down for most of the back, like 12. He was, down 13. Excellent. Really well played hole on 13 because that's not an easy par. You hit a great wedge shot into 14, right at it. Made the putt. 15, excellent bunker shot. And then just needed, one more kind of better execution off the tee shot on 16. So it's tough. And those are the margins that I think golf presents and why it's so fun. And Spieth like teeters on those margins so often. Like he's on those lines so much. And when it works, when he's, in the line, like it's amazing and he's really awesome. And when it goes over the line, it can be pretty bad. But and given that he was, when he's playing well and he's walking that tightrope well, he gets to good spots. And then if he falls off the tightrope, it's just heartbreaking, right? It's like a very sharp sense of like, oof, like that hurt a lot. And that's just kind of who he is, how it goes. And a lot of he's very Spiethy again, which is fun.
It is fun. The contention is fun.
Yeah. Being locked into every shot, every hole. NBC's coverage sucks, but
That's
like
true.
just being that involved in a Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, right? Like the whole time, Spieth is like right there the whole time. To your point, I was gonna give him like a B+ for this week.
It's fair.
Like I think his game is at B+ right now.
It seems close. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I think he can win a major with, I want to say A-, but that might not be true. But I think he could.
I mean, it just depends how like the leaderboard shakes out, to be fair.
Right.
Like, you can win a major with your B game. Like it just depends, like a JT at the PGA.
Yeah. But I'd say JT had like an A- game last year.
That's fair.
Because he was great in the hard wave, and then the playoff he was really good.
Lights out.
So
that's fair. I won't deny that. Let's see. So 2 things on the approach that I just noticed. So on the back 9 today, he lost strokes on approach on 1 of the 9 holes.
wow.
Like 15 was the only
15.
15 was it, and then everything else was above average. And I said this in my story after 17, and it just sucks that he missed the putt. That was like the best 4-iron I've seen him hit in years.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, Birkdale, after the bogey save type of like clutch.
Yeah.
I think that's who he is as a player right now too. 2017 Spieth makes that putt triumphs, and this current guy is still, if you see me on the video right here, we're climbing up the stairs, and he just isn't at that point yet as a player where that putt goes in and it propels him to a victory.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either. Like, people need to understand, again, we're in March. Like, I just can't stand the overreactions. Like, it's not like we're in June and we're just starting to play some really good golf. Like, he's doing this with everything ahead of him. And he gets that. I just think that some of the fans, especially like in my comment section, like, relax, guys. If he continues to play how he's playing right now, he will win multiple times, I think.
Yeah. No, I'd agree.
I mean, he should be in deep contention at this rate, probably 8 to 10 times this year. And if you do that, the math probably comes out to 2 wins,
Right.
maybe more. So relax. Just relax a little bit.
Right. And there is something to be said of, taking advantage of your opportunities. And he had a decent chance today, right? I mean, nobody really folded around him until, Shank shot 1 under today on a tough golf course.
It's a good score.
And, got beat. And that includes, he made bogey at the last, right? So, yeah, Shank made bogey at the last. Tough way he was 2 under going up 18 on a tough golf course.
In the final group.
In the
with
final
Jordan
group.
Spieth.
Right. Yeah. Looking for your first PGA Tour win, Taylor Moore, 67 to win it, right? Like, guys didn't two guys just didn't collapse. Right? Spieth had to play perfect to win today. And he didn't do that. He was close, and he was walking that tightrope of perfect for a good long while. I do kind of think too that I think boring rounds on Sundays, this gives me confidence that it's possible. And by boring, I mean Spieth's definition of boring, which is like -3 or like 68, 67, 68, 69, depending on where you play. And like a bogey, maybe, like a clean card. And I think this makes me feel that it's doable. And it was good to see. It's fun to see that happen. It's just the disappointment of not playing it perfect when you're so close to getting to that end goal of what perfect leads to is tough, and you're right. I think people in the moment, it's like, oh, like that's crushing, and nobody feels that more than Spieth, right? So it's like it's another episode in the Spieth, in just this chapter,
Journey.
this book of just like what makes golf, for me at least, so fun to follow. And we're definitely getting more of these days, hopefully with better outcomes.
Yeah,
I'd say.
that's the whole result. Like, what does Scotty Scheffler do every week? He contends.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Spieth's trying to do. Like, Spieth doesn't go and do. He says it in the media, and granted, he wants to win badly, but like, he goes into media and he's like, "I want to have a good chance to win on Sunday." Like, that's the whole point. You give yourself chances, you're gonna hit. What did I think Jack Nicklaus had like 17 runners up in majors?
Yeah.
Like, the whole point's to continue to give yourself chances, and if he plays the way he's doing right now, he's gonna do that. And yeah, I think the boring rounds, he said it after the round, kind of what you alluded to. I think more that's coming, and you can do that. You can have boring rounds when you make the 9-footers for par, when you make 12-footers for par, the 15-footer for bogey. He couldn't do that in 2022.
Right.
He can do that in 2023.
And I think to that point, just to kind of add to that, because I think that's a really good point, is like the boring rounds are more possible because momentum is now being saved more often with the putter, especially, and that's that purely the putter is leading to more contention because he was hitting it. He might be hitting it a little bit better now, more consistently than he was last year, at least these past 3 weeks, because we didn't really have a 3-week stretch last year.
Last year was bad.
Well, I guess Harbor Town. There was like that Valero to
Harbor Town Nelson PGA was pretty good.
Valero through the PGA where he weirdly missed the cut at the Masters. Like Valero, he led the field tee to green, lost like 7 shots.
He couldn't putt for shit during that run.
Yeah. And he didn't make anything, and that's tough to save momentum, and then it kind of petered off, right? But this year, obviously, there's just a lot more optimism, a lot more hope that things will go better because he'll give himself more chances to be in spots like that. So, definitely not the ending that we would have hoped for. And it's probably more crushing because it was so close. I think that's what I keep coming back to is like, God, like he played so good for 83% of the round. And then to, just have one decision swing, feel, thought in that split second moment, whatever it may be, to just kind of undo the perfection, I guess, that he was chasing is it hurts for sure.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's another good week, another good more progress for sure. It's nice to see macro picture here. It's nice to see the putter work consistently for 3 weeks. Like it's not just a fluke, you know what I'm saying? It's not a Keegan Brad, like Bob brings it up all the time. Like Bradley pops, right? Or trying to think of other putter guys that just like Ben On, maybe if he pops, he's in contention. Morikawa. If Morikawa pops, he's winning or up there. It's good to see Spieth not be in that category these last 3 weeks. It's consistent. Obviously, Thursday was a pop round, but the week in general has kind of followed the trend the last 2 weeks. Gives a lot of confidence for the match play next week. Gives a lot of confidence for the Masters in 3 weeks, the majors coming up this summer. So, more encouraging signs. Of course, we've mentioned that a couple times now. But
Mr. Putter. Yeah, I mean, you said it well at the putter. Like Friday was awful on the greens. You see, speed was terrible, and then over the weekend, putt's great. I think that's a really good sign to see. You putt bad, maybe you revert back to some of your past poor trends, but no, he didn't do it. He putted good.
yeah,
2 rounds, putted great 1 round, bad 1 round, and that equals for the week 11th in the field. So
pretty
I mean
good.
that's awesome progress. I still think the speed work definitely needs some improvement. He had a couple 3 putts this week.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Wasn't great, and especially when you go into Augusta National in 3 weeks where the speed needs to be perfect. Definitely a concern there. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what's your biggest concern right now, if you had one?
Oh man. I feel like I'm in a really nice place to say nothing. Just because, like, no offense to the match play. Like, if he doesn't get out of his group, like, so be it. As long as he doesn't play poorly, obviously you want to play good. But like, biggest concern, obviously, looking towards Augusta. Like, I mean, the iron play obviously is not a concern. I think the wedges look better this week. There was a couple like squirrely ones, but
they could. I think I don't know if he would be totally happy with the dispersion on some of the scoring wedges.
That's fair.
Like I don't think it's as tight as he wants it, but that's
I agree. Fixable.
Very fixable.
Yeah, I think it's fixable.
Speed putting for sure.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we go down the list, Dan. Like, I mean, it's
well,
I
guess that was kind of leading me to off the tee is becoming just a little bit of a concern.
But I mean,
yeah, but it's not about that. It's just like something on Sunday that you can trust. Right? And this is a very niche thing to be concerned about, very specific thing to be concerned about. But I think if he trusts and can do it, because I think today he went in to that tee shot on 16 slightly like, I don't think he didn't trust it. Like, I think he knew that a cut 3-wood was the play, and I don't think that it was not the play. He just didn't have the feel, which whatever, or the mechanic to like do it or execute it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not about he needs something that to trust and execute on Sundays, because the last like 6 holes or whatever, 7
That's fair.
holes.
That's fair.
API didn't hit some fairways down the stretch, would have made his life a lot easier. Probably could have gotten in at 9 under. This week would have been nice to hit the fairway on 16, would have been nice to do it on 18. I mean 18 whatever. It wasn't that bad, but obviously just to have something that's like he can trust. And this week I felt the driver was a little loose. Friday was amazing. I don't know, like I think he drove like a stallion on Friday.
Yeah, has Mr. Phillips. He
Um
did. He did drive it like a
so
stallion.
we'll see. It's we're in a good like time window to your point, where it's like Masters is what, 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away, 2 tournaments away now. But he'll only play, he's not going to Valero, is he?
No.
Okay. So he'll only play
54 holes at a minimum.
yeah, 54 holes at the match play to kind of, I think, if looking a tiny bit ahead to match play, the one thing I'd want to see is just some more consistency off the tee, just a little bit, because the off the tee's been so good for a long time now. We've kind of taken it a bit for granted, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But it'd be nice to kind of see some more, or just even have him experience some like big time tee shots where you kind of need him a little bit. And match play is a decent shout at that. Like he could be shooting a 74, or he could be +2 through 15. But if the other guy in your group's also +2 through 15, then you probably got a pretty close match. So tee balls down the stretch will matter, and I think that's good, because I'd like to see a couple more pressure tee balls be well struck, well thought out. Um, well thought outs. I mean, obviously, I would like them to be well thought out. I don't think they haven't not been well thought out. But I just like to see them be executed a little bit more often.
Sure.
He's got some good chances to do that. So good week there. At match play to maybe hit a few more of those crunch time tee shots when you need them, because I think the rest of it, like the rest of the game is there, right?
Yeah,
To be really, 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 really good. So
pretty much. It's nice to say. I mean, the Masters is in 3 weeks, and we're just about at the point where like, yeah, he doesn't really have any problems. And if they are, they're like tiny things, which is a really nice thing to see. Yeah, 16 today. Oh, I just had this thought pop into my head. Different wind direction today than it was the previous 3 days, so it required a different shot off the tee, which
yeah,
kind of sucked because he played 16 and 1 under this week, which is like incredible. Not to excuse the tee ball at 16, but like you throw that little nugget in there, you get a completely different wind direction, a shot that he hasn't had to play off that tee all week. Probably didn't help his case. Still unacceptable, don't get me wrong, but just something to throw in there. But yeah, I mean, just a phenomenal Florida stretch for Spieth.
yeah,
You said it a little while ago. We came in with nothing. We came in off a miscut at the Genesis that was really, really bad. And I mean, I hate to say it. I don't know if 3 weeks is enough of a sample size to say it, but I mean, he's turned the season around in 3 weeks, and he's looking like a man that's going to go into Augusta National in 3 weeks and have a good shot to take home the jacket again.
yeah. And to that point, right? He's now the last 5 events he's played. He's got 4 top 20s, 3 top 6s, if you include Mr. Waste Management. So
Oh, we included, yeah, that's fair.
look, yeah, just if you go back that far on the schedule and your inclusion of results
Yeah.
in the recent run, it's been good, and it will continue to get better. We hope And I think it's also nice to have a couple things to work on,
No,
because
no, no, for sure. Because especially
I
with the week off before the
yeah.
Masters, for
And I
sure.
think with Spieth especially, like he needs a few things to just like be thinking about need improvement. And not having everything like I like that he's got to fine tune things a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Obviously it would have been nice to just have to fine tune after winning the tournament, but is what it is. Yeah, so good spot. We've said that. And the week off will be interesting before the Masters. And I actually kind of like it.
Oh man.
Um, I know we're getting ahead to
No, no, no,
Masters
no.
here.
But you're stealing my thunder a little bit. I actually like. I feel awful because I have a few followers on Instagram. They're like, obviously, a lot of people from Texas,
Yeah.
that follow me, and like they're like, is he playing Valero? Is he playing Valero? And I'm like, I don't think so this year. And just being like the non-biased person that I am, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
no offense to you guys at all. But I love it. The fact that he can take a week off before the Masters, just tune things up because he can win. He can very much win the Masters. Let's just be very clear there. I love the fact that he gets a week off to go with Cam or go to Augusta on Saturday or Sunday night.
mhm.
Maybe he goes Saturday this year. Or he goes Sunday to see the drive chip and putt or the Anwa. I know Bubba loves to do that. Maybe Spieth does it. Goes in with a nice clear mindset. Get
Yeah.
some work done with Cam. I love it. I think it's good that he gets a week off to fine tune the very few issues that he has right now.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, but we're really looking ahead. It's getting
Well,
exciting here.
yeah, and I think the week off though too is gonna allow him to get there early. He'll be there probably Sunday for at the latest, I'd
Yeah,
imagine,
I probably up.
and to get there early and hit a bunch of short game shots, hit a bunch of long lag putts, just kind of see how it's developing, right? Like that gives me confidence that those two areas, obviously the short game's been a little bit more inconsistent than we might have hoped. Um, but we've seen how good it can be, and the putting has been better. And if the speed of his putts from 30 plus, probably it's more like the 40 plus foot range that was a little bit more troublesome this week. But if he's feeling locked in with that, like it could be a very special week at Mr. National in a couple weeks. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
Dan Nance.
it's yeah, damn, it's like
No,
it,
you're right. It's exciting. I mean, he didn't have that much form. He had form with the ball striking last year, but the putter was awful. And you can. I might get some people mad at me in the comments or in my DMs, like you're crazy. You can say he might be going in with better form to Augusta than he had in 2021. And I know he came off a win,
wow.
but I think he's playing really, really good right now. All right, maybe I am getting a little crazy there, Dan. Maybe.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers on that
Yeah.
because
I gotta look too. But like you can
he
say
was
he's in
in
very similar form.
yeah, I think 2021 seemed a little bit more like I don't want to say like poppy is not the right word, but he just like would shoot lower scores in 2021. But 2023, at least the past like few days have been more consistent scoring. It just seems like it's good. Everything is good, And when everything's good, it adds up to, well, pretty damn good. And
I mean,
then
he played
you
well at the
get
Players Championship.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's just it's a year of like playing well at spots that he or not the year. It's been a stretch of just really good golf. So fun to see. I'm trying to think of any other tidbits from you for Valspar.
Credit to Mr. Shank again. Taylor Moore, again, as we said earlier, a guy that like who knows? He might I don't think he's gonna magically, go off the face of the earth here. I think he'll continue to play some pretty consistent golf.
Yeah.
Maybe not win again this year, but I mean Data Golf had him as their 51st best golfer in the world. So he
Yeah.
ain't a no name. Anything else?
Solid dude.
No. We've been talking about the Masters, but the match play will be, fun. We're recording
Yeah.
this Sunday night. The bracket will be out tomorrow. So that's always a cool little. It starts Wednesday, which is, I think, Cool.
Fun.
Could be a lot of. Hopefully, it'll be a lot of golf, especially because with the week off after match play, hopefully Spieth will go deep because then we'll have some time to both, tune up and take a little bit of time off. But that's all I got, Dan. That's all I got.
Yeah. Um, I'll talk about this in match play too, but I don't feel great about next week. We'll see. But my expectations are not as high. Obviously, I thought he would win this week. This week felt very Valero-y to like 2021 Valero to me. I it's still a little I want to say it's almost a little shocking he didn't win still. But it's weird because it's like he never had the lead by himself on the back nine.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
why I
like
don't
he
go with the whole choke five.
right, like he never needed. If he parred out, he would have been in a playoff after 14. But he had to make up ground on the back nine to, win the tournament, and he came close. And did it with some flair and some excellence. And you could tell, like, in that out of those last four guys, too, like, which one of these dudes has won 13 times before. And that, I think, is fun. And was good to see. But then you could also, I guess, and then if you watch 16, you'd be like, well, that guy hasn't won before because he got nervous and blocked it way right. But then you watch the rest of 16 and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's won. He's done this. He's done a crazier thing in a major and won a tournament. So
He's hit it into a penalty area with the tee shot and then scratched out a bogey before.
right.
Like, he's done
yeah,
that.
he's done that. So that was cool to see. I guess we maybe could give a little update on the standings going into this next week here. The go get that point standings. I don't know how much people really care about this, but
Bob's people are big into it.
yes, and Bob is as well. Bob cares a lot.
Bob does care. Bob's competitive.
So Jordan hit a Jaeger bomb, we'll call it. A little three-way FRL on Thursday. That probably felt pretty nice.
It was nice with the 25-footer that he made to cash that. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was kind of what kickstarted our betting card collective on Thursday. Bob and I both had Spieth outrights at 14-1. Obviously, those came close, gave us a good sweat. You had a Fleetwood outright, didn't you?
I did. So
wow. So
let's be very clear here. I was very much rooting for Spieth.
We had a very good week then.
Yeah, in terms of like
in general, in terms of sweat, stuff like that. So that hit. Ludwig Aberg clutched up, made the cut. So Bob didn't get any points for his missed cut. And Ben Griffin, we faded him this week. Obviously not as much as Brandon Wu or Dylan Wu, I suppose. But
Bob didn't fade Griffin.
Bob did not fade Griffin, and he did not top 30 or top 40 for that matter. So B Griffin, no top 30, didn't hit for Bob. I hit on a Spieth over JT matchup, which felt nice because I don't know. I keep waiting for JT to like shoot a 64. And I want to be, I don't like really want to see it, but if it's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna happen, I'd like to have some points on it. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And so it was a tough for me to like pick to fade him this week in that sense. And he's still top 10. He backdoored a top 10, I think. But so for Spieth to, beat him, that's nice. And then Dylan Wu shot a 78 on Sunday to fall outside the top 40. That's disappointing. He was very, because I was following him on Tourcast, right? And, I follow certain guys on Tourcast for bets, and Mr. Wu was very like scrappy, I want to say. Everything was very average. It was just like, oh, he made a birdie, and then 3 holes later he made a bogey, and then he made 2 birdies, and then 4 holes later he'd make a bogey and he'd post a 70, at least the first 3 days or whatever. And I'm like, that works for top 40s. And then I was kind of hoping today he'd just like, he needed a 75 to top 40. He didn't even do that. So it was brutal. I think he had a stretch of like 6-5, 6-5 on the card, which is never good. So I'm even for the week for me. Jordan, you're up 70-ish points,
76, 67.
76-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, something pretty solid. Bob was down 100, but solid week. We'll be back with match play. I think we just have the normal 100
Yeah.
allotment for next week.
Yep.
But it'll be fun. Different bets, different kind of style. Bob might do like a bracket pool or something.
But yeah, I'd expect he probably would. I don't think
Yeah.
I will, but Bob probably will.
So that'll be fun. Be on the lookout for that. Speaking of brackets, is yours in a decent shape?
I did not make a bracket this year.
Wow.
Like the first time in like 8 years. I just don't know. I didn't feel like making one this year.
That's fair.
And
Are you enjoying the
considering,
tournament?
well, my Terps went out last night,
Mm,
expectedly. So like I wasn't mad. Yeah, I mean the madness has occurred, and I think
yeah,
that's what most people just root for, and I'm really no different. My dad's
yeah,
no different. I mean, everyone loves the madness, and the madness is delivered. But I mean, the Alabama team that I saw last night against Maryland, they are going to be really tough to beat. They
yeah,
are massive. They are so big. But
yeah.
yeah,
They've
it's been
they've
fun.
they've got NBA guys on that roster
Yes.
too. A lot of them. I think I picked Houston to win, so maybe it's a little biased. But and Houston struggled a little bit with Auburn in the first half. But watching them play too, like Houston's got some serious players on that team as well. But obviously they're both the 2-1 seeds that are still standing. So,
Yeah.
obviously Farley Dickinson. Is it better? Do you enjoy not having a bracket because you can just enjoy like the games without a rooting interest, or
It's actually funny you asked that. I probably somewhat regret not making one just because I hop on ESPN and I see other people's brackets and I'm like, man, it makes the tournament maybe slightly less interesting because I don't have like rooting interest in like many of the games.
that's fair?
But it is what it is. I'll live for it.
Yeah.
Like I know I did not like Purdue coming in. They went out.
Mm,
I still would have probably had them going to maybe like the Sweet 16 at a minimum. So like that would have majorly screwed up my bracket. You had Arizona, who a lot of people liked. They're out.
yeah.
So less stress. I think Jay Spieth provides me a little too much stress, so I had more with the bracket. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good. I'm hanging on. My bracket's hanging on. It actually got up to a really good start to the first 2 days. Only problem is I had Purdue in the Final Four because I'm an idiot. Um, and that clearly did not go very well. And I actually have a friend who goes to Purdue,
Oh,
and
and
that
Mr. Shank went to Purdue.
Mr. Shank also went to Purdue. I was thinking Mr. Shank was gonna win when I found out he went to Purdue because it was just like too good of a storyline, you know. Like Spieth was Sobeled this week. Shank went to Purdue and Purdue got upset, so Shank was gonna upset Spieth or
Oh
something like
man,
that. And then
nearly.
of course Taylor Moore comes out of nowhere. I don't know where he went to. Oklahoma?
I think Oklahoma State. I think.
Oh,
No,
wow.
it might be Oklahoma. It's one of the two.
That's a yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so March Madness full swing. Got another bracket coming up in the PGA Tour this next week. Another good. They were talking about this a little bit on the broadcast when they were on and not showing us an Aflac ad. That like these non-designated events have been awesome. Honda was great.
Yeah.
Um, shoot, wasn't there another one? American Express was pretty fun too. Why can't I remember the American Express? Oh, that was Rom. But like you got Davis Thompson versus Rom, and obviously Rom just winning is good for the PGA Tour. This week you had a Spieth, Shank, T Moore, like Fleetwood. You had two of the biggest names in the field were finished inside the top four, and you had two other cool stories. And you had a tight, Final Four, for the Sunday broadcast. So everything's kind of working for the PGA Tour. I mean, who won in Live this week? I actually don't. I don't even
I think
know.
Danny Lee.
Wow, good for him. It's a lot of money, but
Is it Danny Lee?
maybe I mean I don't know.
Yeah, Danny Lee. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good for
I-
Danny Lee.
Yeah, good for Danny Lee. I know Bryson did not play well again, which is
What a
funny.
shame. Yeah. Congrats to
But,
the Fireballs on the team competition.
Who's on the Fireballs now?
That's like the Sergio answer, like the Spanish team.
Where
slash
did the
Mexican
High
team.
Flyers finish? Led by
Man,
Captain Phil.
Captain Mickelson. Mickelson played well. High Flyers came in 6th of 12.
Oh,
Tough week for the Majestics in
well,
the
because
last.
oh wow. Did the High Flyers, don't they have James Pyatt?
They have the triangle, Mr. Tringali,
Oh,
who played well.
I forgot about
It's the
Tringale.
top 3 counting scores. So yes, Pyatt was awful.
But I think they all count on Sunday though.
Oh,
No?
I don't
Maybe not. I don't know.
think so. I think it's just the top 3. Yeah, it's just the top 3 scores that
Oh,
count, I think.
nice. Oh, so
So
Pyatt did nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's kind of cool because then like if Pyatt shoots a 64 on Sunday, despite his previous 76s, like that's helpful for the team. I don't know. I don't know why we're talking Liv. I mean, I brought
Let's
it
get the
up,
Live talk
but
out of here. Screw it. Well, we'll see them at Augusta in a couple weeks, which will be interesting.
yeah, no, actually, I've seen some Live guys comment about that because they've been asked. I think it's gonna be overblown. Like, I don't think the
Probably.
players. Maybe Rory might have some beef with some dudes,
Rory ain't in that Champions dinner though.
but like, well, yeah, I think the Champions Dinner are gonna be fine because who's in the Champions Dinner that's on the PGA Tour
Sergio. Oh, well, I was gonna say all the Live
that's gonna have
guys.
a problem with somebody on the list. Like Spieth doesn't care about Sergio that much. Like, I don't think that's a big deal.
I think I've heard a couple guys say like it's Scotty's night too. Like it's his Champions dinner. So like the whole point's gonna be like
Right, and
pathetic,
Scotty's
not like yeah.
fun guy.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
people
his
seem to
night,
like Scotty.
so no need for the chaos.
Right. Like, I don't think like people, especially the people in that room, hate Phil. Like
No,
you
I
think
think they respectfully disagree.
you think people hate Phil in that room?
Hate's a strong word, Dan. I think they respectfully disagree with what he did, but they're not gonna, start a
That's
verbal.
yeah. Okay, that's kind of what that's the words I was trying to use.
They
but
are
okay.
grown-ups, right?
Yeah. But I think like if Rory was in that room, I think at some point it might come up.
Rory ain't in that room.
But Mr. Rory is not in that room. So
No.
we shall get to that in a few weeks. But
Yeah.
in the
Thanks
end,
for
good.
listening.
Yeah. No, this was I was really hoping this was gonna be live. For the win,
Same.
obviously. But another good week. Just got a lot of it's tough because there's so many positives to take from it. And the negative on Sunday was one golf shot that was really bad, but then you couldn't even be like too mad at that for so long because he played the next like 5 golf shot, at least 6 out of the next like 7 golf shot. Oh my goodness. 6 out of the next 7 golf shots, like really, really well. Just the putt on 17 would have been amazing one to have, but just keep getting chances. Who knows? Maybe a chance next week, but we'll get to that when we get to that. As of now, we'll see you guys next week.
Bob will be back tomorrow as well. Hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully. So,
Hopefully.
Yep.
Peace.
Take care.